Hello, Cadre. This is a PowerPoint and narration regarding the impact of Maslow's hierarchy as a mental model and what it has to do with change and what it has to do with resistance to change. One of the first things that you recall about Maslow's hierarchy, and this oversimplifies it a little bit, but as you look at the hierarchy, it means the hierarchy refers to the what are called presupposing needs. In other words, at the bottom is a need. It has to be satisfied before you can move to the next step. That one has to be satisfied before you can move to the next step. And so in this particular model, survival issues, food, oxygen, those kinds of things need to be provided before people can feel and move on to the security needs that they have, which is safety and certainty and predictability. That need has to be satisfied until people can get to the level of belonging where relationships are created. And all of you have worked with either staff or students whose security issues, personally, professionally, outside of school, are so fragile that it's hard for them to feel a sense of belonging, hard for them to develop relationships. So until you can create that security, the notion that you'll have a relationship with that person is just unrealistic. And a good example, I think one of the good things that schools are doing is the backpack home on the weekend initiative, where that's an attempt to provide for both those survival and security needs so that there's a certainty that food will be there, that the children particularly will have something to eat over the weekend. And once that happens, you can begin then to develop a relationship with the family based upon the fact you're providing for both their survival and their security kinds of needs. And again, you have to get to the belonging level. People have to feel comfortable before they will really engage in the work that we call significant work or important work. And then the top is self-actualization, where people just really are high flyers and they get on with doing what they need to do, regardless of supervision, regardless of what they're being paid, on and on and on. It's the kind of work that you would do whether you paid for it or not. So, a couple of things as you look at that model. Anytime a change happens, regardless of where people are, except for the high flyer self actualization level, people tend to head down at least one step. In other words, even though I'm doing important work, massive change comes along, whether it's a textbook series or implementing PLCs or it's a new grading system or whatever it might happen to be. I'm going to drop down a level to the level of belonging. And once I feel like, yeah, I'm part of this decision making process, I'm part of the process, and so forth, then I can go back up to that importance level and do significant work and be engaged at that level. The most risky thing for schools is when a whole lot of people are at the belonging level, they're pretty much satisfied with that, but that's about as far as they've gone. A significant change drops them down to that security level. And anytime someone is really wrestling with that notion of security, they're pretty vulnerable. And getting them to take risks is a very difficult thing to do. Their personalities as well as status is fragile as far as they're concerned. And to get them to be part of the group, to be part of the teaching faculty and the teamwork, getting students to feel a part of the school, very risky when you're dropped down to that security level. Second point is that people don't fear change. One of the things that you hear a lot is that people are afraid of change. Well, they're really not afraid of change. In fact, a lot of people can articulate that whatever the change is a good idea. The textbook series is good. The PLC initiative is a good thing. The BIST program or PBIS or whatever it might happen to be is a really good thing to do, but they're uncertain about it because they don't know what's going to happen to them. In other words, people don't fear change, they fear the loss that is associated with the change. And the loss may be status, the loss may be position, the loss may be their sense of having expertise, the loss may be relationships with others. In other words, again, when they start to drop down, especially hitting that belonging level, a lot of things come into play for people that makes them quite nervous. Will I have a job, or how will this job go? What will be my relationship with the students and the staff and so forth? Will I be seen as a leader in this new system that I know nothing about, kind of thing? And so people do fear loss. in that process. And leaders have to be very conscious of the lost feelings that people have. And you can discover those lost feelings. There are several kinds of survey instruments out there. One is called the Concerns-Based Adoption Model, or CBAM, CBAM. Or you can simply have individual conferences with people and talk to them about how they feel about this particular change, what kind of issues do they have. They all will express where they are on Maslow's hierarchy.